Oh, hello there. I didn't see you come in. So today I'm looking at the latest release of Sketch. It's finally out of beta. This is their first release of 2025. It's called Athens. It's probably the biggest release they've ever done. Nay, I think the largest. And what makes this really cool is they've gained so much ground in a single release. It's actually kind of staggering. It's a very, very, very long list of features. I'm going to go over some of these 64 improvements. And 28 changes and 22 fixes. It is bloody massive. And they've gained so much ground, and it's a really good statement of intent for where they think they want to go next, and really becoming a much more competitive tool. Let's say if the tool used today for UI design is run by a hideous corporation who really hate you and do lots of anti-consumer things at the moment, and also have completely decided that they no longer focus on their core market of making tools. So not only are there naming no names. Not only are there some big features in here, there's some really good quality of life improvements, some great polish, and some nice UX features for the end user. Sketch is already a really pleasant tool to use, and this is the most pleasant version ever. It's actually really quite lovely. But without going over it any more than we need to, I'm going to put this on the other screen. I'm going to do a quick fire round. I'm definitely not going to be able to get to all the features, but I'm going to hit some of the most important ones. And I'm going to start the most important. I'm going to go into here, and we can change the icon in real time, and it just updates on. This is probably the biggest feature, and it just updates on the. No, I'm joking. The biggest feature is stacks. Stacks are what are stacks? They're basically it's auto layout, right? Or actually, it's closer to stacks inside of Framer. So it behaves. I'm not going to spend too long on this. It behaves the way I expect it to behave. So I can create a rectangle. Let's give it a lovely color. Let's make it that green. It's a Charlie XCX thing. Is that still a thing? Hello. And then what we're going to do is press Command L, and it will turn that into a stack. Give this a corner radius thing. Probably make it a size that people can use. That'd be good. Let's make our text so it is like sitting vertically inside our little space. There we go. Is that broken? Center? There you go. It's not broken. I'm just thick. Anyway, that's a stack. It's auto layout. It does the things you expect auto layout to do. So if I have two next to each other, they overlap. Press Command L to create a new stack. I can set space between. So let's just do that's my padding. My space between, set that to 12, and it's 12 pixels. Imagine that. We can set padding on it, either like this, or we can grab the handles. It does auto layout style things. It's very good, but it does have some fun tricks up its sleeve. Let's do this vertically. Some fun tricks up its sleeve that auto layouts don't. So let's say I've got this vertical stack of things inside the stack. I can override the horizontal position, and they just fix. There we go. So you create something like a message thread or something. I don't know, whatever you want to do. You don't have to create multiple nested stacks to do stuff like this. It works both vertically and horizontally. It does auto layout style things, but that's done with frames. So previously Sketch used to have artboards. It now has frames, and these work like frames. So what you do for frames in Figma, you can do now in Sketch. You can have frames. You can have frames and frames. Let's do a frame in a frame. Let's get a frame, put that frame in the frame. You've got frames in the frame. What else could you want besides frames in the frame? There's also a new type of other thing. Let's make ourselves a lovely shape. Let's make ourselves a lovely triangle. It's a warning triangle, and because it's a warning triangle, that means it's going to be blue, because that's the scariest. That's the scariest color. And no, and we want to make this an icon, so we'll put a border on it. The border is going to be red because red and baby blue are the most terrifying colors, and we're going to turn it in a group. But instead of a group, we're going to put it in a graphic. And what a graphic is a special kind of thing. It's a special thing for icons and stuff. So it has some default behaviors. Basically, it scales and it centers. So that thing in Figma where you create an icon, you set to scale, and you piss around with it for ages. This just does that as a container type. So if you've got an icon, set it to be a graphic, you can jump between groups, graphics, and frames. It doesn't have the layout options that frames do. But it behaves like a icon would. Those are graphics. Another one, which is something I banged on about for a while, is you can set background colors on a canvas, or multiple ones per page. Page 2, they've got 2 different colors. Imagine that. That's crazy. That's another feature. What else have we got? Let's keep going. Command bar. So the command bar is a thing. I think it's on S now. where this is like, you know, your little menu inside Figma, which has always kind of been a little bit rubbish. The command bar is much better. So if we've got a, what they call in Sketch, symbol, so press Command Y, we'll create one, and this one's called Grey, and I'm going to spell like that because it's 1998. And if I want to put a new one, I just do Grey, and there we go. I've got two in here already. Box and oval. Don't know where they've come from. I think I've set up a library somewhere, but yeah. That's how you insert symbols inside Sketch. It's very nice, but also you can do the same thing with text styles, layer styles, colors, frame templates, and graphics templates. So if you've got a icon size graphics template, if you've got one, which I don't, you can just pull it out like that, and you can do that all by pressing S or Command K to get to that. But also Command K does other stuff, right? It does all of your plugins. It's just a command runner. You know how these work. Applications have them, but it's just very slick inside of Sketch. One thing that's really useful, right? Let's say Grey. Let's pull out Grey. There we go. Go to Grey. We go to the source of Grey. You can do it the same way we do everywhere else. We go into here and we go to Edit Source. And Grey's got a variant, right? So Grey has Grey, but it's Grey Blue, right? Don't know why. But let's say Grey Blue and Grey Green, because although it's called Grey, actually, because it's sneaky, Gren, that's cool. That works. This one is, no, it's not blue. It's purple. And this one is green because it likes to mess with you. It's like that. Don't trust your eyes. They lie to you. We come into here and we've got our nested instances. So we've got Grey, drag this out, and we've got these options for blue and green, which are red and purple, respectively. I don't know why I'm doing this. Maybe I want to see the world burn. Anyway, the point is you have this view over here, which is fantastic in Sketch, which is your component view. And what we can do now, not only can we go over here and we can set a different thumbnail background. So that one's light. Look at that. Exactly the same. That one is dark. So you can change how they display. But also, let's say these variants are never things you want to pick out. They just live as a subcomponent, because that's how symbols work inside Sketch. It's nesting all the way down. It's actually quite nice. Get over it. It's good. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's not perfect. It's pretty good. But yeah, what you can do is turn this off to say available to insert, which means now if I go back to here, press C, I only get Grey. But the fun doesn't stop there. So if I've got a frame, look at that. Isn't that wonderful? Let's make this a more interesting color. Let's go with that one. Yeah, and if we move this around, we can see how it pins. So yeah, great. If you look up here, we can see it comes up with suggestions for how you might want to pin it. And if you want to do that, you just do that. And it saves you a bunch of clicks. And there's a keyboard shortcut for this. I haven't bothered learning it. I'm sure it's fine, whatever it may be. That's a thing that you can do now. That's really good. I like that. Also, finally, you've got paste to replace. So if we've got this guy, we've got our this guy, and then we've got this guy. Command C, Command Shift R. There we go. We've got paste to replace. That's a thing that exists now, just like inside of Figma. Apart from, I don't think it works on multiple things at the same time. Let's try that again. Let's do another triangle. This one's beautiful. We're going to do this outside of the frame because, you know, again, watching the world burn and all that. Create a duplicate over here. This one's going to be green. Yeah, that's technically green. And Control Shift R. Yeah, it does one. It should do multiple. Sketch team, sort that out. That'd be great. So, what else is there? Let's stop downloading stuff now. Let's just do some talky time. So, what have we got? There's a ton. Right, so components in the command bar. The command bar is really, really good. The component workflow is really, really lovely. You can also navigate up and down the this guy with the keyboard and then dig through all of your things. Also doing overrides. So I think it's Command Alt R. So if you want to do swap, so swap a component, you can just. In fact, let's just. Oh, is that playing? That's playing some music. Let's leave that on.
Hey, it's Freddie from Sketch.
No, let's not. Abort. We'll make a square. We'll call this one, I don't know, whatever. Pete. There you go, Pete the square. We'll create another one, and we'll call this one, I don't know, Chris. And then if we come into here, press C, drag out Chris, we can press Command Alt R, and then replace him with Pete. Great. And if we want to keep the that toggles whether you keep it the same dimensions or not. Also, you can navigate up and down through various bits and bobs by there, or use keyboard shortcuts, or go back out and do that with text styles. So it works with text styles, layer styles, all that kind of crap. You can just replace stuff directly from the command bar. It's very, very cool. What else do we have? Text and typography. So you can use Markdown inside text. So if you're doing override, so if you have like a bunch of text change, you copy and paste over it, you can mark it up with the markdown style syntax, and it just works and stuff. A lot of these popovers are also super duper mega awesome. There's a bunch of stuff. So the popovers for swapping things out. So if I come into here and I've got this little guy here, all those they're wicked, they're good, they're fun. Then skinning, sizing and pinning. So yep, relative is basically relative size. Scale this proportionally to the size of the frame that contains it. Fix is now fixed size. You can get your head around that. They've got a bunch of stuff for automatically applying pins. I showed you that a little bit earlier. Styling, so arranging stuff. This one is it starts off a bit like, I don't know why I like this, but then eventually you do. So if I've got let's get rid of these wonderful chaps. Come into here. We'll create a circle. Just doing such amazing work here today. That, and then this one in yellow, and then if we move these back and forward, it doesn't move up and down based. So if I press Command Shift, it will move it to the back, but also it moves relative to the thing you have. So it moves. Oh, delete that one. It moves relative visually through the layers rather than by the layer order, if that makes sense. Let's read this aloud to ourselves. Where are we? Oh, Shift X to swap borders. Bring forward to send backward now. Move selected layer relative to the layer visually in front or behind it in the current container, saving if you're moving it multiple times to get a visual outcome. So if you've got something over something else and you want it to be behind, you just press back once instead of 37 times. It will just do it in one. It takes a little bit getting used to, and then once you're used to it, you're like, why hasn't it always been like this? What's wrong with you? Why don't you all do this, silly goose? Workflow productivity. Yep, so there's a button at the top, so you can do this to open up your command bar. That's a thing that exists. I'm not sure how I feel about it. The comments tool has a detachable panel showing comments and replies in your document. I can't show you that. I haven't got any comments, but there's a thing. Basically, there's a whole bunch of stuff here, but the bottom line kind of is general improvements. Really, to go through all of these features, let's just scroll through it again to give you an idea how much is in here. It's more the statement of intent, right, of how much they have done in just a few months. It's pretty bananas, and they fixed lots of bugs and made lots of improvements, and I've got a feeling of where they're going next, and I think it's really good. They're catching up very fast, and back in the day, big thing was, one of the big tentpole missing features were frames and auto layout. Well, it hasn't now. There's a few things missing in terms of variables. I hope they do something with variables soon. That'd be really good. Recently, the prototyping's had a massive glow up. The prototyping is actually quite nice in Sketch now. I think it had a reputation for not being really a thing. It is definitely a thing. It's actually pretty good. So we're going to drag that, and then I like the thing is you grab in the corners and you can then link to different frames and stuff without having to reach all the way across the thing. It's quite nice. That goes back, all that sort of stuff. It's just quite slick. It's quite good. Let's move that around. Whoa! Anyway, the point is, they are catching up. They're gaining ground really quickly and hitting a lot of the core features of the other bits of software have. On top of that, Sketch is really performant. It runs really well. It's a native application. Yes, it is Mac only, but I don't think that's as big a deal as people make out it is. And the client part of Sketch lives on Tinternet already, right? So for people who aren't using the tool, you have a very simple delineation between who can edit thing and who can't edit thing. If you have application on computer, you edit thing. If no application on computer, you no edit thing, you review thing. And also things like the development tools, the handover tools, which I should have prepared ahead of time, what they call dev mode inside Figma, is free in Sketch, and it works in pretty much the same way. You have the multi-collaboration thing, and now you have the majority of the big features. The thing with the workflow of how symbols work versus components with variants and overrides in Sketch is not quite the same. In some ways, it's kind of better in Sketch. In other ways, it's worse. I've spent enough time in Sketch now to get used to the workflow. It is not as flexible as the one in Figma. However, in terms of getting yourself in a little bit of a mess, it's kind of better because you're more intentional about how you construct these nested things, and I actually really quite like it. For big design systems, it's probably slightly worse, but for single applications, which is what most people have, it works really well. I actually really quite like it as a workflow. In my day job, I work across multiple tools. I have a design system that works on multiple tools eventually, and Figma's still better at that today. But I think Sketch are gaining ground, and the main reason why I back them, I'm not some sort of paid shill by this company. I don't, whatever. The point is, independent company that is not doing things as evil. I feel like all of the videos I do at the moment have this weird anti-capitalist thread weaving throughout them, I guess. But the point is, they're not doing anti-consumer things. The pricing's very transparent. The pricing's very fair. They are a less evil company, and as much as we tell ourselves we need a certain set of tooling, actually, the amount of people who suggest to me, why don't you try out Penpot? Penpot isn't as good as Sketch, put simply. It's the fundamentals are worse. Sketch is really smooth, it's really fast, and it's really, really polished. Really, really polished. There's lots of little nice things you do day in, day out, which make it very quick. It's a really pleasant tool to use, and the main reason to support them is they're not doing enshittification. You don't even have to have a subscription if you don't want. You can just buy it and have it. That's cool. I like buying things and having them forever. That reminds me of times before the world was so dystopian, and I like the idea of supporting companies that do that as well. Penpot's really cool. I don't think it's there yet. It's really kind of slow and really janky. They've got a long way to go. They're adding features and they're not really finishing them yet, and it's all a bit work in progress. Sketch is there, it's polished, and there's something you get from a commercial company, which means they generally put out features when they're ready, which is reassuring. And if you want to do work, that's also quite reassuring. That's why I'm doing this stuff with Sketch. I have no real agenda apart from you should probably support a company that cares a little bit more about you and be less about fashion and think more about what the things you need are and what things actually matter to you. In a lot of cases, this will do a lot of things you need it to do. Why am I whispering? I don't know. Anyway, that is the end of the video. I would highly recommend you get yourself a trial, even if you're just curious. I'm not saying this is even the best tool in the world. I'm just saying they've done a lot, and I think they're going to carry on doing a lot, and this is such a great step forward. Read through this release notes. It's absolutely bananas. I've literally only just scratched the surface of some of the things you can do here, and I've done a very bad job of it as well. That is the end of the video, and bye.